Hey YouTube, we're going to take a look at the next offering in our guitar giveaway, Christmas guitar giveaway contest. And if you haven't already, shoot over there, free to enter. Just subscribe to my channel and comment on that video and I will confirm your entry. And the winner will have a choice of one of 7 guitars. So take a look at that if you haven't already. This is choice number 3. And this is a beautiful seafoam Squier Telecaster. This is a Sonic level Telecaster. It's got the Laurel fretboard. It's, you know, it's not fancy. It's among their lowest offerings, but one of the things I appreciate about Squier is that even their lowest offerings are still excellent guitars. And I know their budget, and we're not getting into that discussion. I've got lots of videos on Squiers and stuff. My general overall perception of them is they are great Fender products that they're excellent playing instruments, and you're just cutting out a lot of the cost, and just, you know, I really enjoy them. I really enjoy Squiers. And so, you know, one of the nice things about this contest, if you don't like it, get something else. I've got 7 different offerings. So hopefully something in there will pique your interest. But this one, this is like the classic, you know, the Telecaster. I'm a big Leo Fender fan. Read some great books about him, biographies and such. My favorite is the one written by his wife, Phyllis, and just wonderful stuff. But the Telecaster is truly the original solid body electric guitar. Now, I'm not going to get into the whole argument between this and the Les Paul, because they were both being developed around the same time, and they actually were friends, and they knew each other and had a lot of brainstorming sessions together. And Fender actually tried to get Les Paul, who is a guitarist, Les Paul of the Les Paul guitars. It's funny because now very few people listen to Les Paul guitar playing anymore. It's phenomenal stuff, but it is very, very vintage sounding, and he has this almost harpsichord sound. It's very like chimey 50s jazz rock. But anyway, phenomenal guitarist, but he was working on the Les Paul, what we now call the Les Paul. He was heading in that direction at the same time that Fender was. And Fender tried to get Les Paul to join him and they could collaborate and work together. But Les Paul, even though he appreciated their friendship and he, you know, so forth, he didn't want to work with Leo Fender because he wasn't a guitarist. Okay, whatever. But regardless, the Telecaster is what Fender ultimately put together, and there is both that like authentic original quality to the Telecaster, but the unusual bridge is what gives it its distinctive sound, and that's the like twang, that Telecaster twang, that crisp, really vibrant high-end treble. That's thanks to the so-called ashtray design, and there's lots of different versions of it. You can see just right along here we got different versions of it. Telecaster again is, you know, for vintage oriented instruments, Telecaster is my favorite like old design. I just love them, and I love that twang. I love and the neck pickup was actually designed for the lap steel guitars, and there's some discussion out there about how people can source by buying one of those guitars, one of those lap steel guitars, which are not nearly as expensive as early generation Telecaster. It originally started as the Broadcaster, and that name was already taken by Gretsch, so for a while he just scraped it off the headstock, and those are called no-casters, where they just didn't have any. And then he went with Telecaster, which was an embodiment of the age, right? The television and the space age and cast, you know. And of course, ultimately he would produce the Stratocaster later, which was that wonderful embodiment of the 50s. But this was in the late 40s that this was developed. And still today, this is one of the most recognizable and just dominant guitar. Everybody knows what a Telecaster is, and just about every company, like if you're a company that is going to start making guitars, the ones you start with are the Stratocaster, the Les Paul, and the Telecaster. These are the 3 basic bodies that you want to start learning how to make guitars by making these sorts of guitars. Anyway, uh, rant on all that, but all that is to say that the Telecaster is classic, and this is a crisp model. Again, it's a low-end Squier, but it is very nice. It is very nice. It has a nice finish, beautiful, classic seafoam. Now this is a top loader because it doesn't have the string through is a lot harder to do in terms of manufacturing, and so that's a cost-cutting. You know, my Mexican Telecaster right here, my Mexican Fender, has top loader. And top loader actually has, you know, a different tone, and so some people actually prefer it. Particularly, it allows you a little bit easier bends because it's not quite as taut on the strings. When the strings are going straight rather than having to take a 90-degree turn to go through the body, it gives you a little bit easier. It's a little bit easier on your fingers for doing bends and that sort of thing. So there is, in addition to cost cutting, there is a reason for having a top loader. But this has got a very nice Laurel fretboard. Laurel can be somewhat hit and miss. It's like Rosewood's not quite as good sibling, and it plays a lot like Rosewood, and in certain ways looks and everything like Rosewood. This is a very nice one, and I like, this has got the color distinctions, but it's a very nice, like sometimes it's splotchy looking. This is not splotchy looking. This has a beautiful grain, very natural, coming right up through the middle. Beautiful, beautiful wood. Now there is one, this is used. The newest thing in my giveaway is the Squier debut Stratocaster, which I bought, well, that and the U2. I got both of those new in order to review them on the channel. There is a very tiny crack right here. Yeah, there you see it. Very, very tiny hairline crack that has developed right there. It's not a big deal. It's not unsightly or anything, but that's about the only damage. Otherwise, this thing, beyond that, this thing is mint. So like if I were selling this, I would sell it as excellent with the one note of that little crack there. But it is very, very nice. And the Sonics have slightly reduced in terms of thickness their bodies, so they're very, very lightweight. They're geared towards beginners, but beginner guitars actually have a good reason for why people that aren't beginners like them. A great example of this is the Duo Sonic. Check out my reviews. Check out my reviews on the Duo Sonic. The Duo Sonic was designed as a student instrument, but it was so excellent and it plays so easily and has such just very, very sweet tones and everything. It became a cult instrument, which is what ultimately led to its reissue. And I've got the humbucker model, which, whew, beautiful, beautiful, excellent guitar. And it's, again, it's a beginner guitar, but whoo, it does not play. When you think beginner, you conjure like it doesn't play well. And that's not true. A good beginner guitar should actually play easier. And the reason being that you don't want to pick up as a beginner, you don't want to pick up a guitar that's hard to play and you're just struggling to get sounds out of it. This is a great beginner guitar in the respect that it is easy to play. It's not expensive, but it's still, it looks nice, plays nice, feels nice. I mean, there's absolutely nothing wrong with this. It is a really great instrument, and if you can just get over the association with Squier and entry level and all of that, if you're looking for a Telecaster, this thing is great. So the thing that the Telecaster is best known for is its bridge position twang.
Thank you.